Right now, you've got a pile of shinies you can't see. There's a number on your phone that says how many shinies you have. You didn't count them. You can't hold them. They sit in a vault you'll never visit, guarded by people you'll never meet, and you trust it completely. Now take all that away. No phone, no bank, no vault down the road. Just you, all your shinies, and a world full of people who'd love to take them. Where do you put your shinies so nobody can find them? You'd do exactly what humans did for 40,000 years. You'd dig a hole. And here's the strange part nobody teaches you. Most of the buried shinies we pull out of the ground today were never dug back up by the people who buried them. Not because they lost them, because of something else entirely. One man at the big museum in Britain studied more than 3,000 of these buried stashes to find out what. This is the strangest way ancient humans hid their shinies, and why so much of it is still in the ground. The ground was the first bank, and it never gave anything back. April 2010. A field near a little town in the west of England. A man named Dave is out walking with a metal detector, the way he does most weekends. He gets a signal, a funny one, he calls it. So he digs. About a foot down, his fingers hit a small coin, then the rim of a pot. Inside that one pot, 52,503 Roman coins. Let Og put that in human terms. That single buried pot held about 4 years of a soldier's shinies. One hole, one afternoon of digging, and 4 years of somebody's life sealed in the dark and left there for 17 centuries. And here's something stranger still. Buried in that pot was the largest stash ever found of shinies, stamped by a man named Carausius, a soldier who sailed over, declared Britain his own private kingdom, and started minting shinies with his own face on them. He ran the place on his own for 7 years. Then the history books more or less lost him. Most people sit through years of Roman history in school and never once hear his name. The ground remembered him anyway. And that pot wasn't even rare. Britain has coughed up more buried shinies than anywhere else in the entire Roman world. Thousands of stashes, whole fields full of them. The country is basically one giant piggy bank that a lot of people forgot to smash. So why was it all in the ground? Simple. For most people, for most of history, there was no bank, no vault, no account, no app, no number on a phone. If you had shinies, you had a physical problem. A heap of shinies that any neighbor, soldier, or thief could walk off with while you slept. So you did the safest thing there was. You put your shinies in the one safe that never closed, never got robbed by the guy who ran it, and asked no questions. The ground. You dug your hole. You buried your pot of shinies. And then you did the most important part. You memorized the spot. The crooked tree, the third stone from the wall, the bend in the stream. That map lived in exactly one place, your own head. As long as you were breathing, your shinies were safe and yours. The dirt was your account, and your memory was the password. Which brings us to the man at the museum. Meet Roger Bland. For years, he ran the department that catalogs every buried stash of shinies the tribe of Britain digs up. And Roger noticed something you've probably never thought to ask, even though you'd swear you already know the answer. Why did they bury all these shinies, and then never come back for them? Everybody thinks they know this one. It's the story in every movie. So Roger and his team did something nobody had done. They gathered up more than 3,000 of these buried stashes and actually counted them, where each one sat, when it went into the ground, and what was happening in the world the year it was buried. 3,000 ancient savings accounts, laid out on one table. And when they looked at the pattern, the story everybody tells, the one you're probably thinking right now, quietly fell apart. Here's the story you're thinking. The barbarians are coming, smoke on the horizon. A terrified family buries the shinies in a panic, grabs the kids, and runs, and dies on the road so the shinies stay in the ground forever. It's dramatic, it's romantic, and it's mostly wrong. Because when Roger's team counted, the panic burials weren't there. The big spikes everyone expected, right when the invasions and the civil wars hit, mostly didn't show up. Most buried shinies weren't a desperate act at all. They were just savings. Ordinary, boring savings. The exact same thing as those shinies sitting on your phone right now. People buried their shinies in good times and bad, the way you keep shinies in an account whether or not the world is ending. So if crisis didn't make them bury the shinies, what did crisis actually do? It stopped them coming back. That's the whole thing. That's the part nobody teaches you. The burying was normal. The not returning is the tragedy. A plague sweeps through and the one person with the map in their head dies. A war scatters a family 3 valleys over, An empire quietly declares your shinies worthless overnight. None of that made people bury more. It just made sure a huge number of them never got dug back up. The ground was the first bank, and it never gave anything back. Every stash we haul out of a field isn't a story about fear. It's not buried treasure, it's an account nobody ever closed. And somewhere up your own family tree, long before banks, before paper shinies, before any of this, one of your own ancestors knelt in the cold dirt at the edge of a field, buried all the shinies they'd managed to save, stood up, and fixed the spot in their memory so they could come back for them. Maybe they did. Maybe they're the reason you're here. And maybe, for a lot of them, that patch of dirt is still holding their shinies right now, waiting for a footstep that never came. Now, that giant pot near Frome, the 52,000 coins, that one's even stranger. Because a second expert, a coin man named Sam, looked at it and spotted a problem. The pot was enormous, fragile, buried in one go and packed so tight you could never have lifted it back out without smashing it to pieces. You don't build a savings account you can't open. So Sam's best guess is that this one was never meant to come back at all. It wasn't hidden. It was given, buried on purpose, forever, as a gift to the gods. Which means somewhere under England, there's a pile of shinies that was buried precisely because nobody was ever supposed to spend it. Open your banking app right now. Look at the number. You didn't bury it. You can't touch it. It's just somewhere. A figure on a screen, in a vault you'll never see, minded by strangers you'll never meet. And you trust it all day without a flicker of doubt. That trust is not new. It's the same bet the caveman made when he buried his pot and memorized the crooked tree. Same deal, same faith. I'll put my shinies somewhere I can't watch them, and I'll trust they'll be there when I come back. The safe in your closet, the account, the ring you keep in a drawer. That instinct to hide your shinies somewhere and count on tomorrow is the exact instinct that filled a pot near Frome 1,700 years ago. And most of what you were taught about buried treasure has it backwards. It was never mainly about fear. It was about faith. The faith that you'd be around to come back. Picture that pot one more time. 52,000 coins. 4 years of a man's life. Sealed in a clay jar and lowered into the dark by someone who either meant to return and never got to, or never meant to return at all. Either way, the result is the same. They never touched it again. The dirt closed over the top. And the ground did the one thing the ground always does with the shinies we hand it. It kept them. The ground was the first bank, and it never gave anything back. Every time you check that balance, you're making the oldest bet a human can make. Hiding your shinies somewhere you can't see them, and trusting you'll live to come back for them. 40,000 years of practice. You do it without blinking. This is satire about fictional cavemen in a make-believe jungle. Please do not sue Og. If you want Og to keep digging up the tribe's oldest habits, tap that subscribe button, and drop the weirdest thing you've ever hidden and then forgotten in the comments. Og's collecting.